Hi, I'm Jennifer Rulins, broker and owner at One Focus Property Management and a real estate investor, educator, and advocate. And in today's video, I want to discuss with you why adding your property manager as additionally insured on your homeowner's policy is something we require here at One Focus, but is something that is actually pretty industry standard. To help explain this, I'll first break down what additionally insured means and why it's so important in the real estate management game. First, I'll cover what part of your policy this actually affects, and then we'll get into why it's so important. There are two parts to your homeowner's policy, the damage and the liability. Damage is when there's something hurts the property, it has damage, and your insurance company is going to write a check and you'll get it fixed. We don't want to participate in any of that, and adding us as additionally insured will not affect that. However, the other portion of your policy, the liability portion, would be affected. And it would be affected in that One Focus Property Management, or your property manager in this case, would be additionally insured under that liability portion. Now, why is this so important? Well, when a liability claim is made against a homeowner on a rental property, it is very common for everybody associated with that property to be listed as a party to that lawsuit. So if um, Joe owner owns that property, they're going to be listed. If One Focus Property Management is the management company, we're going to be listed as a defendant. If this has to do with maybe roof work or sidewalk work, you can expect any vendor or tradesperson who touched that to also be listed as additionally sued in this suit. When your property manager is listed as additionally insured, your insurance company will put up one defense that would support the both of you. And that's really important because as your agent, the property manager is working as an extension of you on that property. Now, we at One Focus and most property managers carry a lot of different insurance, including liability insurance, but we cannot get a liability policy to cover the liability on your property. And so it's important that we be listed as additionally insured on your policy to make sure that if there was a liability claim, we would be included in the defense of that. Now, sometimes there's some look-alike terms. We're looking to be listed as additionally insured, but sometimes they'll list parties as additionally interested or certificate holders, among other things. I want you to be very careful and know that if you're working with us, we're going to be very careful to make sure that we are listed, the management company is listed as additionally insured. Those other titles of additionally interested and certificate holder will not provide the same coverage that additionally insured does. Now, to add us as additionally insured to your policy, this is usually as simple as calling up your agent or insurance company, explaining that you have a property manager, giving them our name and our mailing address, and they'll list us as additionally insured, and they'll provide you a copy of that certificate of insurance or declaration page to show that, and that's what you can get to us. But sometimes there's a snag. See, there's different discount carriers around, and even some carriers that just have very strange rules where they won't do this. It's typically free to do, but these companies say, no, we won't do this at all. And if that's the case with your company, well, we wouldn't be able to work with you if you only have that insurance. Now, you could go out and procure a different insurance policy that was able to add us as additionally insured and met the requirements of our agreement. Or alternatively, I offer a master liability policy that you would get in addition to your current policy that you can pay for on a month-to-month basis, giving you $1 million in general liability coverage, with One Focus being co-insured on that policy. And that's something you would put over top of your current policy. You wouldn't get rid of your current policy, but this would allow you to have that liability insurance with us added on the policy. And several of our clients have found that that's great. They really enjoy the premium mix and the coverage they have with their regular carrier. And then this master policy is actually very affordable and it allows them to, of course, use the manager. So that's wonderful for them. If you've watched this long, I'll tell you just a short little story about how it came to play out in a story of ours. And if you watch my content, you've seen me talk about it elsewhere. In this story, I still manage this property, but I had been managing it for about 10 years. And it's a single family home property in the country. There's no public walks. The driveway's gravel. And in this case, it's on a well for well water. And the tenant has all the responsibility for mowing the lawn, snow removal, ice removal, all of that. And many years ago, the tenant on the outside of their home claimed that they fell. And when they fell, they hit the well cap cover in the driveway and they essentially broke several bones in their back and had to have several surgeries. Now, 2 years later, after that incident, they filed suit against the landlord, the person who owned the property, our client, us, the management company, and a vendor who had worked on the well at one point during this tenant's tenancy. And the allegation was that the well cap cover was out of compliance, there was snow and ice, and as a result, this tenant suffered an injury. Now, this went on for years. The pretrial things, we actually seated a jury, and it was settled the day before that this was supposed to go to trial. Most of these things settle. That is the truth of the matter. But in this case, we almost went to trial on it. And because we were listed as additionally insured on the owner's policy, when these complaints came in and we notified all the appropriate attorneys, the insurance company for the owner hired an attorney for the owner and hired an attorney for us. And we were covered under that same policy. We worked collectively and cooperatively in that suit. And that was the best thing to do for the client and had a really good outcome as it turned out. So you can tell now why we are so serious about this. This is something that's very important to us in managing the risk in our business as we work as your agent, doing all the things a landlord would need to do on a property. Thanks so much for watching. And if you have more questions, please reach out.